October is a month dedicated each year to awareness about mental health and depression. Health providers have emphasized the importance of reducing the historical stigma and creating more awareness about mental health and depression. In the spirit of this, the Isha Foundation has programs that empowers individuals to engineer their inner world for profound mental well-being and emotional healing. To help us understand how we can foster positive changes for well-being, we now speak to Tseke Nkadimeng, a volunteer at the Isha Foundation. Tseke Nkadimeng, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Katlego, and good evening to the listeners.
If you can just unpack for us what Isha Foundation is about and the work that you do.
So Isha Foundation is a foundation which was started by Sadhguru some years ago. Sadhguru is sort of a leader from India, mostly practicing yoga and doing a lot of outreach programs throughout the whole world and also in India. Most of the outreach programs are sort of environmental. They do schools, they do many other things. I think one of the largest movement which they started was in around 2022. They started the Safe Soil movement campaign. Safe Soil is sort of a movement whereby they are going throughout the whole world to get the whole governments globally to raise our organic content of soil from 3 to 6%.
Okay.
But the main programs for Isha Foundations, as you mentioned, is the inner engineering program, which we'll talk about.
Of course, and we'll also touch on that Safe Soil, because I know that you did a walk, a 10,000-kilometer walk a little earlier on.
Yeah.
Getting back to mental issues and October month, where we are raising awareness for this, what would you say are the main stress factors that need to be highlighted, especially those that we are seeing in mental issues amongst men?
Well, I think in terms of, if you look at just mental health in general, I think one of the main things which is happening in that is depression. We're seeing a rise of depression, mostly among the youth, mostly amongst the young people, and across the race, across everywhere, to the extent that I think during the COVID days, the World Health Organization predicted that in the next few years we might also have a mental health pandemic. So mental health is, as I said, one of the big things there is depression. And for us at Isha Foundation, we looked at this and said that if you look at the inner engineering program, it's one of those programs which really goes a long way in terms of that. But, yeah.
But speaking of depression and mental health, are we finding that more and more South Africans, especially those in black communities, are expressive about the issues that they're going through, the emotional well-being that eventually leads to things such as stress and depression?
Well, most people, you know, in our black communities, we still see it as a stigma. Most people are not really talking about their situation. And you will find that in most cases, the people who are depressed, they think that the problem is the other way around. It's not, the problem is not them. So it's very difficult for them to sort of go out there and seek help in terms of those, because it takes a sort of a serious sort of calamity to happen for someone to then realize that I've reached a state of, for instance, depression, where I need to go for professional help. You've
mentioned the inner engineering program. How is it fine-tuned? How is it engineered? How does it work in order for you to be able to find that holistic well-being of human beings?
So I think in terms of, some years ago, Sadhguru launched this inner engineering program, whereby it looks at the whole holistic side of a human being. It's not just looking at one aspect, but it looks at the mind, it looks at your energies, it looks at your emotions, and it looks also at your physical body. So it's a program which is offered in 7 steps. It's offered online, whereby you can do it yourself. But when you go through the program, it sort of empowers you to get to a certain level, because when you look at all these things, mental health and this and that, and you look at the government, for instance, website, they mention about 10 factors of causes of mental health there. But one of the big things, when you analyze all of them, it's mostly work-related and relationships amongst ourselves. So now, in the 21st century where we live, there's too many other things which are being thrown at us, which we don't really have control of. But what we have control of is our inner experience of how do we experience those things. And sort of the inner engineering empowers you to look at each and every scenario. Instead of turning the scenario into nastiness, you turn the scenario into a process of joy. So this is what we sort of saying, forget about the outside world, because you cannot fix the outside world. There's nothing we can do in the global wars and many other challenges which we have. But what we have control of is what I can do within me. How I experience those things is totally 100% within me. So inner engineering gives you those tools to say, how then do you go through all this situation, but you still maintain joy within yourself, you still maintain a healthy sort of mental, physiological, and others.
You mentioned earlier on the Save Soil walk that you participated in, 10,000 kilometers. Talk to us about that and the relation between the soil and our mental well-being.
So in last year, from July onwards, I walked across South Africa to talk, and I was raising awareness among the ordinary people about the impact of soil on, just us as human beings, because our bodies is made of soil in one way or another. And soil, for a healthy soil, you need to have sort of the what we call organic contents. That organic contents is the building blocks of our own body. So unfortunately, that organic content has dropped to such an extent that at this point in time of our history of human existence, we don't have enough organic content to build up a strong body to sort of fight off against those challenges which we face every day. So, and this is mainly, you see it in the food which we eat. So the food which we eat, if, for instance, have got too much inertia and many other things, then it also affects your body, it affects your mind, it affects everything else. Hence, what we're saying is that the only way which you can sort of defend yourself against those is by striving. And striving means that you need to go out there and look for help. Yes, mental illness, mental health can be cured, can be treated, and this and that. But what we are saying is you don't have to get there as a human being. And there are tools which empowers you not to get to that level. So, as I said, I walked from my place in Newzroom, Mpumalanga, and right through up to Pretoria, and hopefully we'll be sort of doing something to improve our health, improve our soil, improve our bodies and everything else. Yeah.
Most certainly. Well, that's a great feat. Thank you so much for joining us this evening and for that very insightful talk on mental health. And I'm sure that many of those sitting at home will take heed in ensuring that they do take care of their mental health. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. That was Tseke Nkadimeng, a volunteer at the Isha Foundation, speaking to us there about inner engineering and ensuring that our mental health is taken care of in order for us to be able to take care of the rest of the world.